Hello there, welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff happening in the VTuber world. And today we talk about VCard, trading card game for VTubers, featuring a bunch of indie VTubers like Bow the Whale, Amelie. Well, technically Amelie is with VShoujo now, but she used to be indie, as well as a bunch of other indie VTubers like Nyanas, Shylily, as well as Dokibird, the fan favorite. Unfortunately, not everyone likes VCard. There are a lot of people who do like it. A lot of VTuber fans do like VCard and seeing their favorite VTuber on a card game, and that's fine. I'm not saying that's not true. That is definitely true. But alongside that, there are a lot of veteran card game players, people who played Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, and even Pokemon, saying that they just don't like this card game. There have been a lot of harsh criticism towards VCard, from the way its art is represented on the cards to how the game plays in real life. And honestly, I don't think the art style is that bad. I think it's pretty good. As for the gameplay though, I can see exactly why people hate it so much. It's just an unpolished card game. And that's that.
It just low-key makes me sad, right? As a person who loves card games. Because I want more card games to, exist and innovate the genre to just make card games better. But when you make blatant cash grabs like this, especially as a VTuber and a TCG enjoyer, it just makes me sad. You know what I mean? It's just sad.
No, but the entire time before stream, I've always tried to hold it amicable, just not... I love that you're just gonna say how it is, Yard. But I was like, oh god, if I'm on her stream, I gotta behave. I can't call it a cash grab. I can't.
No, it's for sure a cash grab.
In concept, pretty good idea. How could this go wrong? Well, before this website went 100% live, this learn to play thing did not exist. And if you searched the Twitter account, you scroll, there's openings, launch, trailer, art trailer. Oh, where's the how to play tutorial? If they say it's a trading card game, I would like to know how the game actually functions. You know what I'm saying, dog? Prize pool, which is claimed by the victor of the game. So that means if you lose any card you put into the prize pool, your opponent takes it now. It's theirs. Say goodbye to your one-of-one Ultra God Rare Shylily signed boobies. You're cooked, buddy. So not only is this game extremely fucking predatory for VTuber simps, not only is this game ridiculously stupid in its rules, not in the sense where it's complicated, but in the sense where just so much stuff is not clarified, and the rules kind of seem weirdly, needlessly complicated in regards to rounds and turns and whatever it's called. And additionally, it's fucking gambling! It's just Magic the Gathering anti! I made it to the grand finals, but my deck strategy has been gutted as I lost my win cons on the way there. Yeah, imagine you're playing Swiss, and your deck revolves around Shylily, and then just because of you end up X2 after 14 rounds, and then you're yeah, I have one Shylily left in my deck. The other 3 got taken because of prize pool. Imagine losing your Fuwas before top cut. Yu-Gi-Oh! Should do this, by the way.
The woman who made this has absolutely no industry experience whatsoever in the card game field. That she's just ignorant and dumb and refuses to do research. And she thought this was a good idea. And gamersupps thought this was a good idea because it's oh yeah, we'll just release a TCG like we release one of our new energy drink flavors. That's fine. That'll go well. That'll be just fine. That's a good idea. I will say that is a possibility. I don't think that's what's happening here. I don't think that's what's happening here. This reeks of a scheme. I'm mad because it's so obvious that Shylily didn't try. Because I've seen even complete novices with no industry experience try to make TCGs before, and every single one of them's better than this. That makes me upset. The bar should not be this low. We cannot let it be this low. So, I hope that explains why I'm unhappy. Instead of giving your money to gamersupps and Shylily, who frankly do not need your money, I hope that I have to release one more update about VCard, and that is the update of gamersupps announcing that they screwed up, offer refunds on all the pre-orders, cancel the product, and say that they're going to come back when they've got their shit together. Like, there's no patching this rule set. You know? It's not possible.
Stop stretching! You're so fucked up! Okay. Distraction. 3, 2, 1, go!
I have a frog alive.
Oh.
I know a lot of you are going to be really confused, because how can a card game be so loved and hated at the same time, right? And the answer for that is, a lot of VTuber fans just don't care about the gameplay. Most VTuber fans would just rather watch streams and play card games anyway. So honestly, it doesn't matter if the gameplay for the TCG is trash, because consolation prize is just owning a card that has your Oshi on it. When you're a VTuber fan and you're looking for merchandise to buy, most of the time you won't be able to buy any cards that have your Oshi on it, because most of the time your Oshi and the VTuber that you're watching is going to be indie. I'm sure a lot of you watch Hololive as well. But just say, in this situation, you are an indie VTuber fan and you want to buy a card that has your VTuber on it. Most of the time, it's going to be some random card that comes with a wafer or something. Maybe it's like a sticker that comes with a wafer, and who collects stickers anyway? I'm sure a lot of people do, but most people will see that sticker, enjoy it for a couple of minutes before losing it somewhere else. VCard is a way for VTuber fans to buy a card belonging to a card game that is somewhat official, that contains like a VTuber they like on it. That's all it is. The gameplay doesn't need to be amazing, because most VTuber fans would rather spend hours watching streams anyway. There have been a lot of VTuber card games releasing recently. Initially, we only had Hololive. But what's the likelihood of a company that knows how to make card games making a card game for indie VTubers? For Hololive, it's okay. They are large enough that a legitimate company, maybe Bandai or Bushiroad, they'll make a card game for Hololive. Look at VSPO. They may not have their own card game, but they featured in one of the older TCGs like Vanguard, if I remember correctly. But indie VTubers like Numi or Punkalopi or Cinder or Dokibird, they're all like free agents. Individually, they're just not popular enough that a legitimate game company would want to make cards of them. And even if they did, like, the card game wouldn't focus or revolve around them. That's why other players have entered the market. Look at Oshi Push. Look at B Royale, made by Merryweather. Look at VCard, made by gamersupps. These are all VTuber card games made for VTubers, centered around VTubers. So VTuber fans can buy them knowing that it is a product directed towards them. It's also like, it feels a little more legitimate to collect card games that is focused around the VTuber, because it feels more legitimate compared to a card game that just all of a sudden just decides to include a VTuber in their card game and just moves on. So a lot of fans, VTuber fans basically, don't have a problem with VCard. In fact, they actually like it. They like the presentation. And that's why VCard sold like 25,000 boxes. And each box is what? Almost $100. So that's 250,000 right there. So yeah, this shows that VTuber fans really like the product. They like VCard. So it may be off-putting for a lot of VTuber fans when they see a lot of people criticizing the card game that they love so much. I'm sure a lot of VTuber fans who love VCard is also puzzled why Shylily is getting so much hate, since she is basically kind of like the brand ambassador for the card game, since she's the face of it, even though gamersupps is the one that makes the card game. And there is a reason for that. It's not just like random haters on the internet coming in to hate on the card game for no apparent reason. No, I'm not saying we should all hate on Shylily. I'm saying a bunch of people hate the card game to the point that some of the hate is spilling towards a Shylily. So what's the problem? Who are these people who hate the card game so much that they just bash it online? And the answer for that is that it's just card game players. People who play Magic the Gathering, Flesh and Blood, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, One Piece CCG, DC's Lorcana. These are the types of people that are mad at this card game, because in their eyes, this is an unpolished mess. card game players are not coming from a place of hatred when they criticize this card game. You see, in the card game industry, there used to be this long drought where there were a bunch of card games coming out and they would just die off because they made horrible decisions. It got to a point where people stopped giving card games a chance, especially if they didn't have like some large company backing them, because it felt like the card game would just die off for no apparent reason, since they couldn't sustain the card game with the meager income that they had. For many years, people would get into a card game and then 1 to 2 years later realize that they were just left with cardboard that was basically useless because no one wanted to play with them because the game just died. A card game growing to the size that is on par with the big three, such as Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Is honestly impossible. A lot of card games will die before they even reach a fraction of the size of the largest card games out there. And that's because of the horrible mechanics of the card games themselves. It is not easy to make a card game with a good meta that's fun to play. It's hard to find a card game where the people making those card games are making good decisions for the community. It's very difficult. They'll fuck up somewhere. Even the more established TCGs like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, and Pokemon screw up somewhere every now and then. And it's very common for card players to call out those problems when it happens. Because at the end of the day, card games are no different from gamers. They're going to be upset when their favorite card game has issues. And so it's not just about being mad at the newer card games that don't understand decades worth of TCG mechanics. Okay, it's not about the card game not measuring up to that. Well, it is to a certain point, but because card game players have been betrayed time and time again, and because a lot of people responsible for these quote-unquote newer card games keep making horrible decisions, card game players have gotten into the habit of just calling them out constantly. And because the people behind those card games never fix their games, it's just an endless cycle of criticism that just never ends. So in a way, card game players are never shy about criticizing card games. Whether it's a new card game, oh definitely, they'll criticize it to death. Or whether it's something more established, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, where they'll criticize how the meta is usually dominated by 2 major decks and every other deck is just only somewhat viable, or how it's so expensive to get a meta deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! When you literally have to spend like $700 to $800 worth of cards in order to even have the chance to win at the card game. And it's not like you can control what kind of deck that your opponent plays. If you're at an LCS and you don't have that many friends, your only option to play those card games will be the LCS. And if the LCS has people only playing meta decks, your only option is to play those meta decks. Unless you want to use a joke deck, in which case you just die constantly and no one likes dying. Every card game has its own problems. And it's not like card game players don't reward card games that actually do things right. Look at One Piece TCG. That game isn't just popular right now because it has One Piece on it. There used to be a One Piece TCG that used to be so bad, even though it had One Piece on it. Barely anyone played that game because faith in card games was just dead at that point. It took like a bunch of card games like Flesh and Blood, One Piece TCG, the new one, as well as Disney Lorcana coming back to like revitalize like players' belief that they could be a card game that lasts more than 2 years, that could support a tournament scene, that could support a community and card stores so you could get access to those cards and get access to players who play those games with you. The One Piece TCG is not just popular because it has One Piece on it, well that plays a part definitely, but it's also popular because it was built from the ground up to be a card game that could be played by both casuals as well as people who liked the competitive aspect of TCGs. They've made a lot of good decisions. They've launched so many great events for both casuals as well as people who are simply competitive. Unlike Yu-Gi-Oh!, which has a new player problem because everyone just wants to OTK the newer players on the first turn, and because the rulings are so complex and there's too much text and stuff to memorize, people would rather just go to One Piece. That's just the truth, because it's just easier to learn. If you want the meta deck, you can buy it for cheap, for a fraction of the price that you'd have to fork out in Yu-Gi-Oh! What's that? You have to fork out like $800 for a deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, come to One Piece then. We can get you a deck for like what, $80, and it's meta and competitive. Come on, get in. Oh, you're worried about the cards getting expensive later on? Don't worry, we have different types of rarities, so you'll always have an option to get cards in the secondary market. Don't worry, we have your back. And that's why so many Yu-Gi-Oh! Players went to One Piece. Oh, you wouldn't believe, so many went to One Piece. A lot of people who used to win championships in Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of them actually quit Yu-Gi-Oh! To go play One Piece TCG. Some of them didn't quit and some of them just continued playing Yu-Gi-Oh! But they have dipped their toes in One Piece as well. Maybe because they have better prize pools, the entire card game is just managed well, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Players just hate the fact that there are two types of card games when you play Yu-Gi-Oh! There's the TCG and the OCG, and the TCG has problems because it's not managed well, and the OCG, which is what they get in Japan, is managed really, really well, in that they handle rarities well. Prices for the cards, especially on the secondary market, is just easier to get, and it's cheaper as well, while the TCG is like, what, $800, $700 if you want meta deck. So there's that as well. Lots of problems in Yu-Gi-Oh! We still love it anyway, but you can see there are a lot of problems. Anyway, we're going off track. Look, to VTuber fans who feel that the criticisms towards VCard is a little excessive, please remember that card game players are going to criticize VCard in the same way they criticize Yu-Gi-Oh! Or the larger card games, because the time they spend on VCard is just the same amount of time that they could have spent on any other card game. The criticisms towards VCard are coming from a place of love instead of a place of hate, because, well, TCG players just love TCGs. That's just how it is. Not saying there's no hatred, but at least now as VTuber fans, you can understand a little bit more regarding why people are criticizing VCard. So when you take a look at some of the opinions of the other people in this video, just be aware, not everyone is trying to hate on the card game just because it's VTubers on the card. There are also a lot of legitimate criticism coming from card game players because they love card games.
Here comes the fun part, because it sounds stupid and it's gonna get more stupid as you play. You know, set up their play area and the decks and whatever, they shuffle them and draw 7 cards. Basically, if you don't draw a VTuber, you may mulligan, shuffle the opening card, and basically draw 6 cards instead of 7. Now, if you don't have a VTuber in your hand after mulliganing, you lose a round.
Yeah, before this part wasn't optional. Before it was like mandatory. Like, it would just make you lose the game.
Then.
Yeah, and I think if it was a dead tie for both of them, I think it's just considered an automatic draw.
That's dumb.
I think it was something like that. I don't remember. They changed the rules of this game like 5 times, but didn't say anything. So who knows?
Dude, again, here's like the one that I mentioned that initially gave shit away.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. Oh yeah, one thing I need to point out.
Mm-hmm.
Really important. It's been literally less than a week. We already have erratas going on.
The erratas, because they got the heights and like weights and stuff of the VTubers wrong.
No, Happiness, Chan, and Cyanide full art cards have card text incorrect, and fucking Support Water Shield also has the wrong text on it. $90 errata day fucking what?
They errated the game already? Bro, okay. Blatant cash grabs like this, especially as a VTuber and a TCG enjoyer, it just makes me sad. You know what I mean? It's just sad.
No, but the entire time before stream, I've always tried to hold it amicable, you know, just like, not, I love that you're just gonna say how it is, Yard. But I was like, oh god, if I'm on her stream, I gotta behave. I can't call it a cash grab. I can't.
No, it's for sure a cash grab. Like, it makes me sad. And I hope that if they do see this stream, that they take what we're saying to heart, besides the cash grab part, they'll actually to like, make a good game out of this and actually expand the game more and make it an actual game other than whatever the fuck this is. Because from what I understand, a lot of the cards don't have different card effects. They're all just the same card effect. You don't have a supporter card, you just lose the turn. You lose the whole round. Apparently they just released a roadmap releasing 3 new sets and a competitive scene. How are you playing this competitively? This is nothing! This game's nothing! What do you mean? You're lying. No, chat, you're lying to me. You're lying to me. There's no fucking way. There's no way.
No, the funnier part is that no, they were right. I was at 15 because of Element Advantage 2, not
Hold on.
1.
I gotta look this up. Hold on.
Show me the
stunned.
roadmap right now.
Let me go VCard on Twitter.
Yeah, boxes are 600.
What is this? No!
Wait, is it on the VCard Twitter?
It's on the Twitter. I'll send it to you. Hold on. What is this? No! Major gameplay update. So they're just gonna basically, I assume, remake the game, right?
What?
And then set 2, set 3, set 4, and then competitive game with tournament and even more support.
What?
Well, make
Spend 700 on the base cards. Then we're gonna introduce power creep. Welcome to
no,
ensuring
not
the game
even.
from
If they're
Jameson-
doing a major gameplay update, basically the boxes you bought now are useless, right? Because if they're doing a major gameplay update and revamping the game, what's the point of set 1?
Is that a fucking typo? In competitive?
Oh my god.
Competitive.
So, in theory, you spend $8 on a box to be a beta tester because they're gonna revamp the game entirely.
No, bro, it's gonna be epic. Now, we put everything. Okay, I get 1 win out of it, but like you need 5 to. Okay, there's 5 wins you need to win the game. Are you still with me? So you put everything on the board, not your head, just the board into the trash.
So your hand goes in there or just the board?
No. The hand stays. The hand stays
The hand
untouched.
stays, but the board goes. Okay. Who tested this and how often did they play it? Because it's the debate that everyone has when they release a game, or especially if they release like a car that's like really broken. It's like, how often did you play test this? And to be honest, I don't think they did. Okay, they might have like wrote the rules out and were like, I think this makes sense. And we'll look around the room and go, does this make sense? And they go, I think so. And that was the
Once
extent
again,
of what they did.
It plays like what somebody who doesn't play TCG thinks a TCG plays like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my overall thoughts are like, I just wish instead of doing the overhaul of the game they're apparently gonna do, they should have just took more time and to make it an actual card game. Cause I feel bad for everyone who bought the first booster box because, or even the cases, right? Because like these aren't cheap. And then I'm assuming that these cards are now worthless to play because you're overhauling the game anyway. I feel like this is gonna power creep the game. Well, not power creep, but more like just make the game actually do things, so these old cards just mean nothing. Like, I wish it was either just a collectible card game, or collectible game, right? And like, you just collect cards, like baseball cards. But even Weiss, right? Weiss is, I guess, a similar idea to this, where it's like a property, and you make a game out of it, but you can actually play Weiss. I say Weiss is kind of clunky as a card game, but you can play Weiss, and it's a good time. I wouldn't know how playable this is.
While there have been a lot of criticism towards VCard, the company itself has made promises to try to improve the card game, with Shylily here saying, "Thank you for your trust in VCard. We are excited to expand on all the fun mechanics and VTubers will work on adding to the game." You can see they've taken all the feedback to heart, and hopefully card game players will be satisfied by the things that VCard will do for card game players. Honestly, my opinion is, like, even though the card game mechanics is trash, I think a lot of VTuber fans will still enjoy the game, even if it still remains as worthless in terms of game mechanics as it is now. Because let's face it, VTuber fans did not just buy 25,000 boxes because they wanted to play card games. No, VTuber fans bought 25,000 boxes of these card games because they wanted to collect cards that had their VTubers on it. That's all it is. They don't care about card games. They just care about like the live streams and spending hours and hours on end just listening to their favorite VTuber. You know, that's all it is. Do I think VCard is here to stay for the foreseeable future? Well, let's be real here. Card games, a lot of people like to say that, oh, you're just selling cardboard. It should be the best business in the entire world. That's not true. Card games are a hard business because no one wants to buy cardboard that is worthless. It's extremely difficult to get all the things right for a card game. And since barely anyone is going to play this, let's be real here, it's not enough to sustain like players market. So it's going to be a collector's market. That's not really healthy, is it? In the entire world, there's only one card game, as well as a handful, that are capable of surviving based only on the collector's market. One of the largest examples of these is basically Pokemon, where there are more people collecting the card games compared to people playing the actual cards. That's why you see more One Piece TCG players playing the cards compared to people buying the cards in the store. So I don't think it's sustainable for something like VCard to continue operating moving forward. I think it will be a fun thing that the people responsible for VCard will be able to look back to and say, oh, look, VTubers on cards. That was a fun thing we did. But yeah, 3 to 5 years tops. VCard, V-Royale, Oshi Push, it doesn't matter what card game it is, it's gonna die. 3 to 5 years tops. There's no way this is gonna last long term. I don't believe it. The real value of card games like these that will just die off over time is that at bare minimum, you will be able to make happy memories with all the cards that you've managed to collect. That's it. That's the end of the video. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. This is Terry Avila signing out.